thinking about taking GCSE Art next year, then this video is for you. We are going to be talking about things that you need to consider before choosing GCSE Art, because as an art teacher, I see these things all the time. I think it's only right that I share them with you. So buckle up, we are going to get started. Let's talk coursework. So I'm sure you've seen all of the videos before looking at coursework on TikTok or on YouTube, and people saying there's so much of it to complete. And to be honest, that's not a lie. There is a lot of coursework involved in GCSE Art. GCSE Art is predominantly coursework based. You will have two components. Component 1 is worth 60% of your grade, and that's all coursework based. 40% of your grade comes from component 2, which is the exam project, but you're still going to be building that sketchbook, and there's a lot of additional time and effort involved. Definitely consider whether or not you want to take art alongside another coursework heavy based subject like business studies, health and social care, DT, because all of these subjects are going to require you to do additional coursework outside of the lesson. If you work well with coursework instead of exams, if you find exams are quite high pressure, then maybe coursework based subjects would be a better option for you. However, just keep in mind that the more coursework based subjects you have, then the more work you're going to have to do at home in your own time outside of school, and it then becomes an issue of time management. Although you might only be in year 8 or year 9 at the moment, think about what it is you would like to do once you leave high school. Do you want to do A-levels, a diploma, or even an apprenticeship? If you're wanting to do any form of creative subject or go into a creative industry, GCSE Art is a good option. If you don't take art at GCSE level but you want to do it for A-level or as a diploma, you might find it that much more difficult to get onto the course because you wouldn't have a body of work or a proven GCSE grade to get onto the course. Some courses will ask for you to have a 5 at GCSE in order to then get onto their course. So if you know you want to take an art course beyond GCSE, then definitely take it at GCSE level, because that's going to help you get onto the next stage. I know of students that I don't teach at the moment who are in their final GCSE year, and they have applied to go onto photography courses or creative courses beyond GCSEs, and it's a little bit more difficult for them to get onto these courses because they don't have a portfolio. They're having to do additional work outside of their current studies and mock exams to try and build a portfolio. They haven't got the skills that they might need to get onto the course, so it might be that they have to go onto a lower level course and then build the skills up before they can actually go onto an A-level or the higher level 3 diploma. So definitely think about what it is you want to do once you leave high school. If you are going to take GCSE Art, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on one of my videos. If you're not entirely sure whether you want to take GCSE Art or not, and you're considering it just because your friends are, then I would maybe look at different subjects, because there's a lot of work involved, and if you're not doing it for the right reasons, then it's really easy to then start falling behind with your artwork. I personally think it's an absolute brilliant subject to take. I would, because I'm an art teacher. However, if you are not fully prepared to commit to it, then you will fall behind with the artwork, which can then feel quite stressful, and it's really difficult to then catch up. You don't want to be doing all of that work a day or two before the deadline. So I would definitely think about what the reasons are on why you're taking GCSE Art. If you're going to it thinking it's going to be an easy subject where you and your friends can just have a nice chat, then you need to think again. It's not for the faint-hearted. I wouldn't suggest that you choose GCSE art thinking that it is an easy option. If you haven't got that passion for it, it's going to feel like a lot of work, and it can feel like a lot of work even if you love it. So definitely consider whether you're doing it for the right reasons. If you're doing it because you think you can slack off, or you're doing it because your friends are doing it, then those aren't really the right reasons. Those lessons you are going to be working really hard in, and there's also going to be quite a lot of work that you need to do outside of lessons. So that then leads us into homework. There's a lot of homework involved in taking GCSE art. So you've got your work that you will do at school. However, art takes a really long time to complete. And if you want to get a high grade, you are going to have to show your refinement skills, your experimentation, and everything else in between, along with your annotations and your written work. So I would make the most of going to interventions that your school might run, because those are going to help focus you on the work that you need to complete. Any sort of lunchtime interventions where you can go and do a little bit of artwork, little and often, is all going to help, and it's all going to be working towards the greater picture of that final GCSE grade. There's a common misconception or belief that GCSE art is too heavy with written work. There is an element of written work within GCSE art, but it's mostly you writing about what the artwork is for, why you have created it, and thinking about it objectively. So we're not looking for things on listing how you created it, listing the materials you used. That's going to be really obvious to your teacher and to the examiner. We will be able to tell what art materials you've used. But what we want to know is what ideas are behind it. How has this linked to your previous work? What have you discovered from using this? Why does that art material work better than another art material? The written element to art is more about your journey and how you're coming up with those ideas. So you shouldn't let that daunt you. If you feel like you're concerned about the written elements, your teachers will have writing frames and guides on how to create your annotations or write your annotations. And another thing to think about is you're not going to get marked on your spelling. As long as it makes sense and you've got your written information in there, you're not going to be marked down for things like spelling. That's not part of the marking criteria. If you aren't the strongest at writing, but you can communicate your ideas, then that's absolutely fine. So don't let the written element put you off. If you're really passionate about art, you really want to take it, but you're concerned about the written work, don't worry. You're not going to get marked down on things like your spelling. One of the things I find really frustrating as an art teacher when I'm marking is seeing how much time students spend on the backgrounds of their sketchbook pages. You are not going to get marked on if you create a watercolour wash on the background, or if you do paint spatters in the background, okay? You're not sure how you're going to present the work in your sketchbook. That is absolutely fine. You're getting marked on the actual piece of artwork, how it's relevant, what you're showing, what skills you're creating, not how it is presented in your book. Don't worry if you aren't the best at creating sort of pretty backgrounds. Some of the highest grade sketchbooks that I have seen, they don't even worry about adding in backgrounds. They're not necessary. You don't need to add a background. If you're only wanting to take GCSE art to create those sketchbooks with the really pretty backgrounds, create a sketchbook at home. And I think that's one of the things on social media that people complain about, on how long it takes. But actually some students waste so much time on backgrounds, and it's completely unnecessary. You don't need to have all of the fancy art materials at home, so you can get by on having a set of pencils. A lot of students might do colouring pencil work, or even a cheap watercolour set. You don't need to have lots of really expensive art materials in order to take GCSE art. Some schools will offer art packs that you can buy, but otherwise you can pick up art materials fairly inexpensively from places like The Works, from the range online. There's lots of places where you can get fairly inexpensive student grade art materials that you will be able to use to show evidence of your art skills in your sketchbooks. I would recommend having some art materials at home because you are going to have a lot of homework. So if you can buy a set of colouring pencils or a set of watercolours, whatever it is you can afford, then I would recommend it because you do have that homework and you will be expected to do that homework in order to get a good grade. If you get into year 10 and you've chosen a course and it's not quite the right course for you, within the first few weeks most schools will allow you to switch to a different course. So for example, if you're taking BTEC PE and it's not quite for you and instead you want to move over and do GCSE Art, you should be able to move across. Okay, as long as the course isn't full, as long as the option blocks work out, you should be able to move across. I'm not saying this is the case for all schools, but most schools will allow you to drop a course and move to another one if you really don't feel like it's right for you. I've had students that have left GCSE Art to go onto a different one of the GCSE courses and vice versa. I've had students then drop the course they were on and then come into my class. Now, this isn't ideal because one, the students may have worked on quite a lot of really good quality work and then that doesn't go towards anything. However, I understand that they want to go on to a different subject. That one might not be quite right for them or what they want to do in the future. Whereas if you're coming into art, again, you are going to come in at a point where we've already started the course. We've got quite a few weeks into that course already and you're going to have to play catch up. So it's really a good idea to try and decide before year 10 on whether or not you want to take GCSE Art, because if you come in a few weeks after the year has started, you're going to be behind from the very beginning. Think about what courses you really want to do, whether that's for your future or for ones that you enjoy. It's important to decide and think about what subjects you enjoy, because the ones you enjoy, you're going to want to do the work for them and you are going to then, in theory, succeed. This is going to be an opportunity for you to improve your art skills. So you're going to be doing lots of observational drawings, you're going to be coming up with your own ideas based on artists that you've looked at. So this is going to be a really exciting way for you to start your creative journey and developing your own ideas. I personally made the choice in year 11 that I wanted to study art at degree level. So everything beyond year 11 was focused towards that. I decided to go to college and I worked on a BTEC in fine art, and then after that I then went to university and I got my degree in visual studies, which is very much like a fine art course without a specialism. So what you choose now can have a really big impact on your future. So it's really worth looking at now and not coming up with a definite or definitive answer, but having a think about what possibilities are out there for you and what you might enjoy doing as a future career path. If you've got any other tips on how you decided to take your GCSE in art, let me know in the comments because it will be really useful for other people that might watch this video. Also, if you have found it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up so it will go out to more people. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.